All right. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, it looks like I have sound. Yeah, it looks like I'm on camera. So, welcome. I'm very pleased that you could join me today as we kind of explore how to use ChatGPT and AI, especially in school as students. Um, I see a whole bunch of folks here. A lot of you are my coworkers, a lot of you are my students, a lot of you I don't know, but that's okay. That's what we want. Just to kind of give you a quick little introduction of what we're going to do, I am going to be discussing how to use AI tools, ChatGPT primarily, but a few others as well, as a college student. Now, if you are not a college student or if you're just an employee somewhere, if you're an employee somewhere, don't worry, this is going to be applicable. All the tools and all the functions that I discussed today, I use every day in my work. So just to kind of give you a quick overview there. So yeah, okay, let's go ahead and get started in this. So 17 ways we can leverage this. For those of you who don't know me, let me take a moment to introduce myself. I'm Lon SCHIFFBAUER. There's a whole bunch of letters after my name. You can read them. I'm the founder here at Nutshell Brainery, and I'm a professor of business management at Salt Lake Community College. And in addition to my academic background, I also have like 25 plus years experience in the corporate sector, primarily in tech. So companies like Intel, eBay, PayPal, companies like this. So now, I worked in HR there, so I wasn't doing the tech, but I'm familiar with the mentality of tech and how it's used in the business world. And furthermore, I have a ton of friends who still work in the tech industry, and they have helped me a great deal in understanding how these companies are using AI today. Okay, so now, as we get started, what I would like to do is kind of calibrate our mindset. Excuse me. So, how are we going to approach this discussion? Because the fact of the matter is, this is a controversial topic. Using ChatGPT and AI tools in college assignments, which is what I'm advocating. So, it's important for us to kind of calibrate our understanding before we move forward. So here's my first assertion. AI will not replace professionals. However, professionals who use AI will replace professionals who don't. So remember, I'm a business management professor, which means it is my mission, it is my mandate to prepare my students for the real world, the corporate world, to the extent of my ability. And the corporate world is using AI. They're using it every day in a myriad of ways. Therefore, I feel that it is incumbent upon me to give my students the skills they need to use AI in an ethical way. Because if they don't, they're going to be replaced by those who do. And I don't want that. I want my students to kick ass and take names. Okay. So now, when I talk about AI, I'm talking about a variety of tools, primarily ChatGPT, but I'll be damned if I'm going to sit here like a moron and say ChatGPT 1,800 times in this presentation, right? I'm just going to say AI. In a couple of cases, especially in one, I'm going to talk about a tool called Elicit. And a few of you may know about the program Notion AI. Notion AI can do a lot of the things that ChatGPT can as well. So the point is, when you hear me say AI, just replace in your mind ChatGPT or any other tool if I call it out specifically. All right, so let's keep going. Now, I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine that you have your own personal assistant. You have your own personal assistant who is expert in nothing, but knows enough about everything to be dangerous. This person knows a lot about everything. They don't care what kind of perfunctory work you send their way. They're available 24/7. And weirdly, they know you really, really well. They know how you think. If you had this personal assistant at your disposal, what could you accomplish? I mean, so I'm a professor, and I often think, oh gosh, if I had a TA. I'm a business owner, and I'll often think, oh, if I had an admin or somebody to bounce ideas off of or collaborate with. The mind boggles at the things that I feel like I could accomplish. Well, that's what AI is. AI is a personal assistant who can do all this stuff. But I want to make something clear. Executive admins, by the way, executive admins, the administrators for executives, they freaking run the world. Just so you know, the administrator, oh my gosh. Anyway, executives don't hire admins so that the executive never has to work again. The executive hires admins so that the executive can do better work. And that's what I want from my students. I want them using this personal assistant not to get out of doing work, but to do better work. All right. Now, something we need to call out. Currently, AI is an absolute misinformation nightmare. All right. It'll give you sources if you ask for sources. They're made up. Oftentimes it confuses sources, it confuses information and so forth. It's important that we don't rely on AI for our sources and the details of the information. What I have here is writing is a skill, one that you may or may not need in your life, right? In your profession. Now, Tiffany, I know, you and I are writers. We love this writing thing. But not every profession needs strong writing skills. She's going to call me out on that. However, Tiffany agrees. Oh, virtual hug. However, every single profession out there, you need to know how to question, how to research, how to test your ideas, how to verify the information. This is a mindset that you need in everything. So, AI can help you do your job, but it's still incumbent upon you to verify the information, to research, to question, to delve into it. You are accountable for the accuracy of the information. Don't rely on AI for the accuracy of the information. Now, don't worry, we can rely on AI for a whole bunch of stuff, but not that. Okay. Now, I want to share with you my North Star in this. What guides me? I'm a professor. I teach at a community college. I have students who are doing awesome things. What is my sort of value set when it comes to requiring my students to use artificial intelligence? Okay, here's kind of what I'm shooting for. And by the way, since AI for you and me has been around for a whole grand total of 4 months, it's not like I've really figured this out yet. This is the wild, wild west. I want my students to spend less time trying to decipher instructions and articles and texts, because some of these things are pretty convoluted and arcane. I don't want them to spend a lot of time trying to figure that out. I want to help them get past that blank page barrier. You know, when you have to start an assignment and you're looking at a blank screen and you're like, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I want to help them get past that. I want them to rely on autopilot less. right? You know, just, oh, I already know how to do this. I'm going to do it the way I've always done it, and I'm just going to deliver good enough results. You know, college students are pretty darn bright. They're smart. They're accomplished. They know enough to just get by. I don't want them to just get by. I want them to push themselves. So what do I want them to do? I want them to spend more time exploring and delving into the topic in depth and really getting into it. And I want them to refine and improve their deliverables. In other words, what they're handing in should not be just good enough. It got me through high school. It should be, this is actually pretty darned awesome and would get me some, recognition in the workplace. That is my North Star. Okay. So that's a whole lot of setting of the stage. Let's get into the stuff. I'm going to discuss how to use AI ethically in parentheses, my class. Now, there's a lot of students out there with a lot of professors, and I am not going to say, hey, by the way, good news, every one of your professors will agree with this. Not the case. Okay, so if you are a student with you have multiple professors, I get it. You need to run this by them. You need to find out what is their take on AI and how they expect you to use it and so forth. So don't take this as marching orders in every class on the face of God's green earth. However, in my class, this is what we're going to do. We're going to follow. The way I'm going to feed this up is we're going to talk about how to use AI through the entire life cycle of an assignment, starting from understanding it, outlining it, researching it, proofing, editing, and so forth, and preparing for exams. AI can help us in every one of those facets. So let's start with understanding the assignment. Hey, by the way, dear fellow professors, we are not always great writers. Our assignments are often burdened with the curse of knowledge. We're not always clear. We are not always concise. And quite often, our instructions to students, though clear to us, might be confusing to a student. So AI can help you explain something in simple terms. So students, you can go ahead and type in, by the way, I'm going to show you a whole bunch of tips and tricks. You'll have access to this stuff afterwards. So don't feel like you need to, nervously scribble down everything you see. I'm going to give you access to all this after. You could use a prompt like, I got this long, confusing email from my professor. What is he or she asking me to do? I use all of these techniques and all of these prompts, they work. Or I have to complete an assignment that reads as follows. What does a professor typically look for from a student in assignments like these? Kind of a way of getting an insight into what you're going to be evaluated on. Now, another thing that AI can help you do during this phase of the assignment is put together a study plan and schedule for you. Guys, you're busy. You've got school, you've got work, you've got family, you've got friends, you've got all kinds of demands and obligations pulling and demanding upon your time. A study schedule can be really good because you don't want to wait until 2 hours before the assignment is done and go, holy crap, 12-page paper, what am I going to do? So try something like this. I have to write a paper that includes the following, and then put in the assignment. I have 2 weeks to do this, an hour each day, and I don't want to work on Sundays. Give me a schedule that will allow me to complete the assignment on time. It'll do that for you. It'll parse out how many hours, what days, how to approach it. It will take the assignment and break it down into its constituent parts and say, on this day, focus on this day, focus on this, yada, yada, yada. You do that each time, and lo and behold, you're going to have an awesome assignment. It's great. Okay. Everybody talks about, hey, you know what? ChatGPT can compose a country song using Shakespearean pentameter. Great, but let's actually make it do something for us. Sometimes you have a question and the professor is not available, or they're incommunicado. It happens. My apologies. You want to ask the question, but the person requiring it, the professor, is not available. Ask AI. Check it out. I'm a student with the assignment, and the assignment is asking me to, and put in the instructions. I don't understand what this means. Can you please help explain? Now, if your professor is around or something, you could ask them that. But if they're not, if it's a Saturday or Sunday, or they don't really respond back very quickly and you have to do the assignment, AI can help explain what the assignment most likely is looking for. Okay, that's preparing for the assignment. Now let's outline this darn thing, right? By the way, guys, if you're in the workforce, this works for reports, analyses, and so forth. If you have to do a pestle analysis, a business analysis, a SWOT analysis, all this stuff counts for that. Okay. One of the things I mentioned is the blank page thing. You know it. I know it. You have an assignment to do and you're just looking at a blank page and you're not even sure what to write about. You'll have these assignments that'll say, hey, this is a reflection. Okay, what am I supposed to write about? Well, I have to write a 3-page paper on something to do with insert topic. Please provide some essay ideas. And it will. You can even say, please provide 10 essay ideas. And it'll provide 10 ideas. Now, here's the beautiful thing. You may not use any of those ideas, but trust me, they will give you ideas. You'll look at the ideas and go, oh, I hadn't thought of that. You know what I'll do? I'll do this instead. It might be idea number 11, but it helped you get past that what should I write about thing. The next thing it can do for you is develop an outline, okay? I have to write a 3-page paper on insert topic. Please provide an outline with the key points that I should cover, okay? Now, let's talk about this for a moment. You did not ask it to write the paper for you, okay? You said, listen, give me an outline and what are the key points to cover. This is completely legit and ethical in my opinion. I am a business management professor, including my MBA, my PhD. I have an MBA, Masters of Business Administration. I have written many business plans. But if you were to just tell me right now, hey, what are all the sections of a business plan and what are the key elements to cover in each one? I'd be like, I'd have to go check my stuff, right? There's nothing wrong with checking your stuff, checking your notes, checking the text, checking this, that, and the other to find out what's a good outline and what are the key points I should address. My wife just finished, a couple of years back, she finished her master's degree. And I said, hey, well, here's a general outline that you can follow for this sort of thing. And these are the questions that you can address or ask. Her paper ended up not following the outline at all or having anything to do with what I delivered, but it got her started. It got her thinking. So you can do this. All right. You can brainstorm possible options. Now, by the way, just so you know, my friends and so forth who are working at Intel and Adobe and PayPal and eBay and so forth, they use this a lot in their meetings, talking through ideas and possible courses of action. So a prompt can be something like, I need to figure out how to insert your problem. Help me brainstorm some possible solutions, including the pros and cons of each possible course of action. It's going to give you some solid stuff. Again, remember, it's not expert, but it knows enough to be dangerous. This can work with team problems. I have this problem with my team. I have this problem with my professor. I have this problem with my advisor. I have this problem with my manager. What are my courses of action? What are the pros and cons? It can just help you think about it rather than just being stuck in your own head. I've often said I'm actually kind of smart, but I'm nowhere near as smart as I am when I have somebody to work with and really get me thinking and we're bouncing off of each other. AI can do this for us. Okay, so you've prepared your assignment, you've outlined it, you have the key points you need to address, and you've brainstormed some possible approaches to the assignment. Now you got to research it. Now, I have a video up there on Nutshell Brainery called Evaluating Articles for Credibility. You might take a look at that. But let's see what AI, ChatGPT, analysts can do for us in terms of research. Because remember, its facts are kind of jacked up. We're accountable for the accuracy of the information. So one thing is you can use AI as kind of a personal tutor. Imagine if you have a tutor who freaking grew up with you and knows you really, really well, and they can help explain things to you in a language and in a context that you understand. So, for example, I did this. I'll tell you one way that I did this, just to experiment. I said, hey, I like playing Dungeons and Dragons. Explain the economic principle of the invisible hand to me in a way that I can understand using the game as an example. And holy smoke, the answer was pretty darn good. I wouldn't say it was stellar, but to understand this weird principle of the invisible hand through the context of Dungeons and Dragons, it explained it in a way that really resonated with that person, right? I've tried this in other ways as well. Really handy. So when you're struggling with concepts or principles or theories and so forth, and sure, you can look on Wikipedia, but then that's just a whole bunch of words, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, explain it to me like I'm somebody who's really into Warhammer or Fortnite or something, and it'll do that. So that's pretty nice. Another thing it can do is help you put together a research plan, right? It's not doing the research for you. It's putting together a plan. So you can say, hey, listen, I have to write a paper about X. What kind of research should I include in this paper? Because, we don't know what we don't know. So, for example, I had a student who was working on a pestle analysis. This is an international analysis. And he said, hey, listen, I'm trying to explore the viability of introducing these solar-powered generators into this region. What's the sort of research I should do? And yeah, it brought up some things. Well, you should understand this, and this. And so it helped guide and direct his research plan. Now, what it can also do is help you get another perspective. The truth is, we're all kind of stuck in our own heads. The way we see the world is the way we perceive it to be. But the world's an interesting place. There's a lot of different approaches and points of view and so forth. You can ask AI to help you understand another side, because a good paper, a good research paper, a good analysis, a good business analysis or what have you, looks at all sides of the issue. So you can say, hey, give me both sides of the argument around X. And yeah, it'll give you a really good rundown. Another thing it can do, now you gotta be careful with this one. It'll help point you in the right direction, but I recommend that you do your own research afterwards once it's pointed you in the right direction. You can have it summarize books and articles for you. So yeah, I've got a PhD, which means I've read about 800 journal articles in my career. But even then, we don't read the whole article. We first start with the abstract. And if the abstract is any good, then we'll go down and we'll look at the discussion. If the discussion's any good, then we'll look at the findings. And then we'll, so there's this kind of hierarchy of how you read a paper. Well, AI can help you out. Summarize the key points discussed in, and then put in whatever book or article, or summarize the key findings and their implications discussed in a given book or article. Now, I've done this, and I would say it's about 70% accurate. And so what I strongly recommend you do is when it gives you the key findings or the key points and so forth, go to the article, word search on the article for some of the words the AI used, and you'll find where those things are discussed, and you can see for yourself what the true findings or true key points really are. But this can help you kind of figure out how to tackle a 26-page journal article. Now, another thing it can do, and I use this one a lot, is it can help you remember things that you heard once and you can't quite remember who said it or or what it was that they actually said. So the prompt I use is, I once heard somebody say something like, and then I put in whatever it is I think I heard them say in reference to, say, time management or whatever the topic is. Where is this from and what is the quote? Now, I used this one literally an hour ago. I'm writing an article about how to be Batman. Yeah, I'm writing an article about how to be Batman. And I was trying to remember a quote from Adam Savage from his book, Every Tool's a Hammer. Now, I could either go to the book and try to flip through every page and find the quote, or I could go to AI and say, hey, in his book, Every Tool's a Hammer, Adam Savage says something about this. What is it? Well, it told me what it was and where the page is. Sweet. Okay. It can help you find a case study. You remember hearing about something somewhere that this occurred, so you can say, provide a case study that demonstrates something. Now, I want to show you this other tool as well. This is where I want to point you toward a tool you may not know about called Elicit. This is when we're moving away from ChatGPT for a moment. Ask Elicit a research question and then skim the articles it feeds up and find the ones that are most helpful to your assignment. So, for example, I put in there, what are cognitive resources and what happens, I even miswrote the question, apparently. What happens to them through the course of the day, right? So it gave me a quick summary about what cognitive resources are, and it's elicit.org, tree checkup. It's elicit.org. It gives me a whole bunch of articles there that kind of talk about cognitive resources and so forth. And then I could click on an article, and lo and behold, there's the article, there's the abstract, and everything right there. Now, real quick, the article, if you try to pull it up, may be behind a paywall because journals, don't get me started on all that, right? But if you go to your college or university online library, I can practically guarantee you have access to any and all articles that Elicit would feed up. So this is just a great way to find articles that might be beneficial to you. I kind of call that, it's Google Scholar on steroids. Google Scholar does this kind of, but Elicit does this much better. Okay. Yeah, sorry, tree checkup. Yeah, it kind of sucks. Okay. You've written your assignment. You're all set to go. Now you have to proofread and edit your own work. which is apocalyptically difficult, okay? Now, I have a couple articles out there. One is How to Write in a Scholarly Voice. I recommend it if you're a college student. And also How to Edit an Academic Paper. All right. These are solid videos that you can use. But now let's look at how AI can help us in this process. I do this all the time. First, just have it check for spelling and grammar. This is what I do. I say, check the following. I put in a paragraph by paragraph. Check the following for spelling and grammar. If there are no errors, do not make any changes. And then I put in the paragraph. And then the next prompt is, do the same for this. Next paragraph. Do the same for this. Next paragraph. I don't want, if there are spelling errors or grammar errors, I want it to find them and fix them with minimal changes to my paper. That's why I tell it, hey, if there are no errors, don't change anything. If you don't tell it to leave it alone, it'll give you something different anyway because it wants to show off. So you kind of have to tell it, hey, just leave it alone if it's fine, okay? Some more prompt examples that I use for my writing. I say, remove anything that doesn't directly support the key points. Great way to remove extraneous nonsense. You could also ask it, what important points are missing from the following, the paragraph? Or what can I do to improve the following piece of writing? It'll tell you things like, hey, you use less passive voice and so forth. Here's some examples and so on. It's a really great way to allow it to help you be a better writer, okay? Let's see, tree check. Can it tell the difference in words from context? For example, spell checker doesn't pick up words. Yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that. Tress versus trees and so forth. One thing it will do is if you tell it the context. So you say, hey, this paragraph is from a paper about leadership theory. Please check the paragraph. It will then use that as a context. So yes, the answer is it will if you give it the context. Okay, last part. Preparing for exams. Life isn't just about papers. You got to prepare for exams. Let me show you how it can help you do this. First of all, you take a whole bunch of notes. And if you're like me, my notes are like kind of stream of consciousness. If I'm typing out my notes, I'm just kind of like typing what I hear and what I think and so on and so forth. And so it's just kind of this dump of information, right? That doesn't really help me too much when I'm studying. So you can actually take all these and have it help you organize and categorize it. So the prompt I use is organize these class lecture notes under key concepts and further define the important ideas. Because maybe my notes don't do a very good job of defining the important ideas. So I might put in there the profit motive. It's basically the idea that it's never enough. Well, there's more to the profit motive than that, but that's all I wrote down. So it'll then go in and say, hey, profit motive, here's some more information about it. Great, fantastic. Another thing you can do is it can generate questions and answers for you on any topic, right? So check this out. You could put in as a prompt, the final exam will cover, and then enter whatever concept or principle is unclear to you. Give me 4 possible questions that test on this topic and 4 correct answers for each one. So it's saying, hey, you're likely to run into a question that looks like this. And when you do run into a question that looks like this, these are possible correct answers. Now, not only does this help you study and get ready for the test, but it reinforces the information for you. When it is helping you organize and augment your notes, and then when it is giving you questions and answers, it's basically creating flashcards for you. And as you read through the flashcards and think about them, lo and behold, you're going to learn this crap. Pretty cool. Okay. Ask questions in emails. So listen, do yourself and all of humanity a favor and never ask a professor in an email, I don't understand the assignment. Can you explain it? Because the answer to that is, well, evidently no, I can't explain it, because if I could, I would have put it in the assignment, right? But sometimes the assignments are written horribly. We talked about this. So ask AI to write an email to a college professor that asks what you need specifically. So the prompt: write an email to a professor asking them to further explain what they mean by X. I'm actually going to use that. I have one of my assignments that asks students to provide one element for each 4 contexts. And a ton of students always get it wrong. It's because it's poorly explained. I'm going to use AI to help me explain that better. But that's an example of where you could write me a letter, or your professor a letter, that says, hey, can you help me specifically understand this? And that's it. Those are 17 things you can do to use AI to help you through the assignment life cycle. And if you have any other tips or any other ideas or ways that you use it, I would genuinely like to hear them. This is a brand new world, and so I don't know this stuff. Nobody knows this stuff. Even the inventors don't know this stuff. So I want to get better at it. GPT versus 4. Yeah, 4, I think if you pay for it, you can actually get 4, but I haven't done that yet. I might explore that. So yeah, something to consider there. Now, there you go. And if you found this helpful at all, do me a solid. You can like, subscribe, and all that sort of stuff. You can give a little tip thanks somewhere on this live stream. You can join my YouTube community or Patreon, or go out to nutshellbrainery.store and check out our stuff. Now, if you go to nutshellbrainery.store, you can actually purchase for $1 a PDF that goes through all this information, and you can have that in your hands when you're going through your assignments and so forth. You can either go to the store, or you can go ahead and scan that QR code, and you'll be in great shape. All right. It's also in the description below. All right. And when you do that, subscribe to our newsletter, hang out with me. Let's be part of a learning community going forward. I love this stuff. I'd love to collaborate with you. And there you go. And there's the button I want to push. I really appreciate you joining today. Glad this was helpful. Tree checkup. By the way, I told my wife you recommended 3 trees in our pit, so we're gonna have to talk about that. Nathan, great to see you. Glad this was helpful. See if you can help your team do some of this stuff. You'll be more productive once you kind of figure it out. Hey, Michael, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks, Tiff. You guys have a fantabulous day. And once again, if you know ways to use this that I didn't cover, let me know, because I want to be good at this. Cade, hey, great to see you. Thank you. Take care. We'll see you later. Tree Checkup has a really cool background, and we can't see it, but he has a pretty cool background set up. I'm going to hang out here. So if you have any questions or if you want to offer any suggestions on what I can do, with my students, or if you just want to chat about this and so forth, feel free. I'll hang out until we kind of close things out. I like seeing all those likes. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. It's the algorithms, man. We're all slaves to the algorithms. All right. Looks like folks are dropping off. So I'm going to go ahead and sign out. And until we talk again, have a fantastic day.